Hello, everybody. Nice to meet y'all today. Today is Tuesday, and we're doing week 2 of Mindfulness Journaling. And I'm supposed to have one person coming in for class. They're not here yet. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we did last week for review. So last week was intro to this class, and we talked about being aware of our breath. And when you are aware of your breath, it has a centering and calming effect on you, and it feels so good. I need to practice that right now because I am a little beside myself. I don't ask me why, but something that I do quite regularly. I know how to use Google Docs. I know how to use my Drive, but for some reason I was completely blanking out on how to do something. Totally wigged me out. I'm okay. I really am. But so last week we talked about awareness of breath. And one of the affirmations we had is every breath I take nurtures and uplifts me. And I needed to say that, and I needed to hear that. Every breath I take nurtures and uplifts me. The frustration I was feeling is definitely past. I got what I needed done. And then we did a cleansing exercise. And I love the cleansing exercise because it's a visualization that you take yourself to your favorite body of water and you immerse yourself and you just let it take away all the mental clutter, all the mental ick, and just brush it away. And it's an exercise we'll refer to as I use this book. And we ended up with a affirmation of I am who I want to be. And today, I am who I want to be. I am perfectly me. Short-sightedness, frustrations, and all. It's a learning curve, and acceptance is more than half the battle. So today, I have posted up on the comments. There's a link, and that link will take you to the documents we're going to go over today. And we're going to go, today's topic is mindfulness at work. And we'll be talking about being mindful while working. Not necessarily just like in a 9-to-5 work environment, but when you're gardening, when you're taking care of the house, when you're crocheting, when you're researching, when you're when you're doing a task, when you're doing a job. So we're going to be looking at mindfulness at work and how we can use it to make ourselves more productive and more effective for ourselves. I am so glad I shared that mantra with you guys of every breath I take nurtures and uplifts me. It really worked. I am much more centered than I was just 3 minutes ago. Anyhow, so where we're going to go is we're going to go to the first page of the document, and it's a nice title page, and it's just mindfulness at work, and it's a pretty page. And the next page, page 2, is definitions of work. So there are several different definitions of work that this book points out to you. So the first definition they list is to function, especially properly or effectively. Another definition is toil, labor, exertion, effort, slog. Another definition is to operate according to plan or design. Another definition of work is activity involving mental or physical effort. Definition of work, to produce a desired effect or result. And the last one they have listed is something done or made as a result of an action. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 definitions of work. And what I'm assuming that one of those definitions probably rang more true to you than others. And sometimes the definition of work just depends. Doing dishes is work, but that's toil, exertion, effort, and slog. A lot of that's my attitude. I don't like doing dishes. I just do it. My definition of work when I am making something or creating is to produce a desired effect or result, or something done or made as a result of an action. So within these 6 definitions, different jobs, different things you do will fit different definitions of work. And sometimes work isn't fun. Sometimes work is enjoyable. So, but work doesn't necessarily only mean toil, labor, exertion, effort, and slog. It can be to produce a desired effect or a result. So the journaling part of this definition, of all these definitions, are to choose which of these definitions are you drawn to, if any, or why. What do you agree or disagree with? Make a note of your initial thoughts. When you complete this chapter, return to these definitions again and notice if your attitude toward them has changed. Well, let's see here. The first definition of work is to function especially properly or effectively. And I believe you can do that if you've researched, if you know your topic, and you do what's needed ahead of time. I kind of like that definition. Toil, labor, exertion, effort, and slog is a definition of work. It reminds me of doing activities I don't like. Activities that need to get done. We got to do the dishes. We got to do our laundry, which requires washing, drying, folding, and putting away. Mowing the lawn. Things that that need to get done, but we don't necessarily look forward to. Just because it's labor and its exertion doesn't mean it's less worthwhile. But you just need to get it done. Just do it. Participate in it to the fullest you can. To operate according to a plan or design. Am I drawn to that definition? I think so. I'm at my work here at the Recovery Center. It's based around peer support, and our mission and what we do. To operate according to plan and design. I appreciate peer support. I embrace peer support. So yeah, I'm operating according to a plan or design. The missions and what we strive to do here at the center. So I kind of like that definition, and it kind of rings true with me in how I approach my vocation or professional life, however you want to look at it. Actively involving mental or physical effort. Work can be tiring. Work can be mentally draining. Example, I'm trying to figure out how to I have a video I'm watching, and it goes step by step, but there's something I'm missing. And it's not just me, because I had other people look at it. So it wasn't just me, which made me feel good. I went and got validation. But it's a little mentally draining because, I'm putting my little brain cells to work, and It's not necessarily connecting. Physical effort, example, involving like when you go camping, like right now, today it's hot out, but the physical effort to put up the tent, to get the table going and such creates a it's a physical effort and it's tiring. So after you do the job that's completed, you look at it, you're satisfied with what you've done, but it's an effort well spent. Hi, Miss Cece.
Hi, I called and told them I was going to be late.
That's okay. Yes, I did. Okay. Here is what we are working on today.
Thank you.
And we are on the page definition. If you flip the page, you'll see definitions of work.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And I'm going over each one right now. I'm currently talking about activity involving mental. Well, look at them. Look at the 6 different definitions of work. Mm-hmm. Just take your time. I'll finish talking about them. But tell me which one resonates with you or which ones you're identifying with currently. So I was on to produce a desired effect or result. Work, like when I teach healing through art, I'm trying to produce a desired effect or result. I give out an idea or set of directions to have an effect or result. And that's I like that definition of work as well. Something or done or made as a result of an action. This is kind of cool because I didn't really think about this as work. Your hobbies are work too. It's pleasurable work. So, something done or made as a result of an action. So the definitions of work in this little handout that I have, I like it because it expands. We're just not talking about the slog of doing dishes. We're just not talking about work is a bigger picture than what you think. So, Miss Cece, what definitions on there resonated with you?
Something done or made as a result of an action.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot because just like you said, you don't think of it in those terms, or at least I don't think of it in those terms. To produce a desired effect or result, that's very important. I don't think people think about that.
Right.
Except, when you're doing a job, you get paid for it, or you expect the pay at the end.
Right.
But those are the ones that stick with me.
Right. And like I said, I like these definitions. Toil, labor, exertion, effort, and slog. I think that's what tends to go through people's mind first.
Mm-hmm.
But
true.
There's so much more to work. There's positive results. There's the effort. There's the planning. So that's talking about definitions of work. And by going over that, we're being mindful of what work is. We just expanded our outlook on work. So let's go then next to our next section. And it is how to use this section. So we'll be talking about mindfulness at work. Thank you. We'll be talking about mindfulness at work this week and next week, for a couple weeks. It's a pretty big section. But so how we're going to use this section. Work can mean many things, so please use this section of exercise in whatever way you wish. For some, work might mean how you earn a living. For others, it can mean all the domestic tasks you perform regularly, or the volunteer job you have. So focus on whatever work area you want. There are many attitudes you might have to work. It might be a love-hate relationship, a way to survive, a main passion in life. Perhaps it's a mixture for you. This is the opportunity for you to discover your own personal relationship to work and how it shapes who you are. Go through the first few exercises in this section and simply note how you're feeling and what you're thinking without trying to change or even analyze it in any way. Accept the flow of thoughts and feelings and write them down afterward without judging or censoring them. The later exercises give you the opportunity to understand your feelings and thoughts on a deeper level. So work through this section in order, which we're going to do. Take your time and enjoy the different ways to explore your attitude to work. With all the exercises, before you start, remember to focus on your breathing for a moment or two to relax and ground yourself. So, during this entire presentation, if you find yourself unfocused, it's okay. Just bring yourself back to the present. It's all right. No judging. If you find yourself, unfocused, it's okay. Go back. So that's how we're going to use this section. We're just going to be looking at how we feel about work. Are there myths involved in what we feel? Are there are we using a flawed thinking? Just things to look at that we wouldn't normally look at. So and then the next page is just a very pretty picture to observe and relax with. I love this book. I am so pleased. My daughter and I went book shopping, and she happened to stumble upon this, and I was just like, "Woo, happy, happy."
Okay.
Barnes and Nobles is a happy time, guys. So, the next thing to focus on in how we feel about work is a poem by Henry Van Dyke. Now, as I read this, listen to it, and then we'll talk about how it makes us feel. We'll talk because we'll have a journaling exercise afterwards. Let me but do my work from day to day, in field or forest, at the desk or loom, in roaring marketplace or tranquil room. Let me but find it in my heart to say, when vagrant wishes beckon me astray. This is my work, my blessing, not my doom. Of all who live, I am the one by whom this work can best be done in the right way. Then shall I see it not too great nor small, to suit my spirit, improve my powers. Then shall I cheerful greet the laboring hours, and cheerful turn when the long shadows fall. At eventide to play and love and rest, because I know for me my work is best. I like that. I like this poem a lot. It triggered some DBT thoughts in me, which is a good thing. I love DBT, but be effective. When I read this poem by Henry Van Dyke, I thought, do what you need to do, but only do what is necessary. You don't necessarily have to go for the overachievement. Do what is necessary. Do it well. So that eventide, at the end of the day, you can love and rest because you know what you did during the day was your best. You met expectations. You met the goals. You met the outcomes. So do what is needed for the situation. That's what this poem's bringing out to me. If we look at the journaling aspect of this, notice your feelings. If it doesn't matter, write them down. Then read it again. What jumps out at you, make a note, be honest. So if I follow those directions, like I said, what struck me is it just putting in the effort of only what's needed to be effective. If I'm being effective, I'm doing well. Miss Cece, what struck you with this poem?
I think to me, it's letting you know that whatever you do, it's a reflection of you.
Mm-hmm.
You want to try to make sure that the work that you accomplish at the end of the day is a real a reflection of you. And it's also saying that um, I've never thought of work this way as a representation of myself. But to me, this is saying, hey, if you're not present, but you've done a task, that task is going to speak for you.
Right. Your work speaks for you. Your work speaks of what you do. Yeah. So I like this because when you think of work, you're not thinking of the effort. You're not thinking of the production, what you produced, what you made. So um, it's just a neat way to look at work, I thought. So I like this. Read the poem, and then after you read it, we got the journaling page. Write down your thoughts and how it made you feel. Come back to it again and see if something else strikes you differently. So that's what I like about this book, because even when you journal, it's not about filling out the entire page, the journal page that they have the space there for. But let's say you look at it right now during class, and let's say tomorrow you want to look at the information again, something new might strike you, and you write that down so you see how your opinions grow or change. So it's just this book's just a really neat learning tool, I think. So the next poem we're going to talk at to think about work. This is a different presentation. It's called 6 o'clock, and it's by Trumbull Stickney. Now burst above the city's cold twilight the piercing whistles and tower clocks. For day is done along the frozen docks. The workmen set their ragged shirts aright. Through factory doors, a steam of dingy light follows the scrimmage as it quickly flocks to hut and home among the snow's gray blocks. I love you, human laborers. Good night. Good night to all the blackened arms that ache. Now that's a completely different writing style. That is when I'm thinking about that. Read these words. How does it make me feel? And what are your emotions? With this one, this definition brings me to work when I think of work as toil, slog, and effort. And um, human labor, I'm thinking of farming. Farming pops in my head with this. I'm thinking of people who work directly in the factories. I'm thinking of, um, when the physical exertion in work. And yes, work can be physically exerting. And yes, you can be tired and your arms do ache. Um, so, and you feel good, just like you feel good when you meet your expectations at the end of the day, but you also feel good after you put in a hard day of work. Like when I lived on a farm with my dad, I used to help him bale hay. And exacting work. You're on the wagon, you're pulling the bales, you're stacking them up. You pull into the barn, you pull the hay down, you put it on the elevator, or you're up in the hay mow getting the bales off the elevator and you're throwing them into the appropriate places. You're packing it tight. Honest, hard work. And come the end of the day, I felt good about myself. I did something. I made that hay go into that space. I was part of that. And looking back, the satisfaction I have for that is similar to the satisfaction I have of, like, I'm making friendship bracelets right now, of completing a friendship bracelet. It's that kind of satisfaction. So I think between the two poems, what I'm finding is to be satisfied with your work, whether it's an activity you might enjoy, such as making a friendship bracelet or crocheting, or whether it's something you had to put hard effort into, such as baling that hay or mowing the yard, whatever. Miss Cece, what's your...
There is a tendency in this country to think of people that perform the hard labor task as being not quite as good. And you wouldn't be able to do what you do, sit in the offices, do this, do that, so forth and so on, if a lot of the tasks, especially like the environmental services department, the housekeeping department, if they didn't do what they were going to do. My girlfriend's husband works at one of the big places around us. Well, I'll just tell you, he works at children's research, and they paid accolades to everybody, with all this going on. So finally, somebody up in the upper echelon of the hospital connection had a day for the people that do the cleaning and paid homage to them and thanked them for actually being there because if the place wasn't clean,
Right.
they wouldn't be able to do
They wouldn't be able
anything. I
to.
don't care how great a surgeon or this
Right.
or that or researcher. So I thought that was nice that they did that.
Right, right. And it does. It does make you. It take. I like that because you think of everything. You know, here we got the cleaning crew.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, the cleaning crew is so important. They keep our bathrooms clean. They keep the place in ship shop condition. Like after this class today, somebody will come in and wipe off the tables and do the chairs. You know, somebody's doing the elevators. What right now our classes are being done, somebody's wiping down the elevators so that when we come back to the next class, we're coming to a clean condition. So yeah, work exists on so many levels within a I want to use institution, within a ecosystem. Yeah, you got to look at the whole picture. So but yeah, so 6 o'clock, it's a good poem, and I liked it. And you know, it's valid. You know, sometimes work is an effort, sometimes work is tiring. And now we got a work affirmation. And that work affirmation today that we're going to share is, I value my work, it sustains me and others. Now I like how this book does affirmations. Once again, say to yourself out loud about 10 times or in your head, just to get the affirmation, make it part of you, and to see how it makes you feel. You know, I value my work. It sustains me and others. Once again, I value my work. It sustains me and others. I value my work. It sustains me and others. I value my work. It sustains me and others. I value my work. It sustains me and others. I value my work. It sustains me and others. I value my work. It sustains me and others. I value my work. It sustains me and others. Okay, so I repeated it to myself like the exercise asks. And jot down the first things that come into your head. What comes into my head is, I do value my work. I don't care if I'm crafting. I don't care if I'm here at the center. I don't care if I am outside doing yard work, if I'm in the house doing housework. I do value what I do. My time is of value. What I don't, I will see that sustains others. I will see that I am benefiting, I am doing things for others, and others may benefit, but I tend to overlook how it affects me. I tend to devalue the impact I'm giving myself. So with this affirmation, I value my work, which I truly do. It sustains me and others. I can see what I do being a benefit to others, but I also got to look at me and allow me to acknowledge and say, yeah, it sustains me as well. And me being sustained from it isn't a bad thing. I'm allowed to say I liked it. I'm allowed to say I feel productive over it. So I value my work. It sustains me and others. Miss Cece, what are you getting from this affirmation? What are the pros and cons with it for you?
Well, you know what it's making me feel like? When you're depressed and you're down, you don't think of yourself as a work of art. You sort of think of yourself as maybe like a blob or something, or something, or some individual that's on the face of the earth that doesn't have any great value. But just like with just about anything else, you have to see yourself as a work of art and know that it's a continuing process to keep yourself going, to value yourself. For instance, if you live in a environment that's all discombobulated and stuff, you're going to feel discombobulated. If you worked or performed tasks to have it neat, everything in order, well, reasonable in order, then you're going to value your environment more. You're going to value yourself as like a 360-degree circle.
Right.
This has made me feel just how important work is.
And work's important, and what the work does for you.
Right.
Because I think we're used to being in service to others.
Right.
But I think for me, I forget that right now I'm learning with you guys, and I'm thinking with you. I'm doing service for myself as well.
Right.
And I need to not take that for granted. I need to make that something I'm grateful for. I need to bring that into the here and now. So, and that's what's so neat about affirmations. They're not big things. This one's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's only 9 words. And you repeat it to yourself, you make it mean something to yourself, and then you act on it. That's the power of affirmations. Yeah, so I value my work. It sustains me and others. Anything else you want to comment about that, Cece?
No, it just this sort of happened at a good time because I wasn't valuing my work. I wasn't putting the best. I was looking at them at the low end of the totem pole. But it's made me realize that if you're not important to anybody else as far as your work, your spirit, you have to be important. It has to be important to you to glow like a, do you want a 60-watt light bulb or do you want 160?
Right.
Well, you want the brightest because that means that you're illuminating other people and causing other people to think positive of themselves.
Right. And if you're illuminating out to the people, that illumination is coming from within you, but you have to recognize it.
Right.
Because without recognizing it, you're not giving the full value to what you're doing. So, yeah, I really like this affirmation, and I think I'm gonna put it in my. I have a book or a list of affirmations that I use. Like, if somebody was to ask me what my favorite affirmation is right now, doubt less, trust more. Is the affirmation I've been working on for years now. But I have affirmations that I just are go-tos. So
I can't wait to and frame them and put them up. The pictures are beautiful with the definitions and everything.
Right. Now this is the material I had for today that we went through. And just to recap what we went through, the definitions of work, and it's kind of cool. Growing up, I grew up as a farm girl, and work for me was toil, was labor, exertion, effort, and slog. But I didn't think of work being an enjoyment, well, until my adult life. And yes, the jobs I kept, the jobs I liked, and I work. When I keep a job, I keep it for a long time. Most places I average about 15 years before I change jobs. So operate according to plan or design. I like what I do. I tend to be a people person. I've worked with people for the interactions I have with the people are basically an important thing for me, regardless of my work history. And something to be done or made as a result of action. My hobbies are a work. It's a work I enjoy. It's a work in peace. So, the definitions of work. So look at those and how they affect you. The next thing we talked about was how to use this section. And, and we're doing that. We're looking at each poem, each affirmation, and seeing how it broadens our concept or changes our concept about work to us, and to be more mindful in what we do. And then we had this beautiful, just look at me, pretty page. And then we had the poem by Henry Van Dyke, and just look at a different way to view work. And then we had the 6 o'clock, which viewed work from a much more slogging, hard effort point of view. But both views are valid. It's work too, and one's just as valid as the other. And the important part is, if you're being effective with your work, whether it be slogging through the dishes, slogging through folding those clothes to put them away, or mowing that lawn, you're being effective. You're doing what's needed. And I'm saying a lot, guys. I apologize. I really need to work on that. And then we had the work affirmation. If I value my work, it sustains me and others. And I really hope you take time to just look at that and do repeat it like I repeated it here for you guys, because it puts it in your head. And by doing that, it challenges your thoughts, which is always good. And it can help you to bring gratitudes forward. So that is mindfulness at work this week. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. And next week we will talk more about work and mindfulness at work. If you have any comments that you want to share with us, please do. I would enjoy that. I thank you, Miss Cece, for being part of my class. Is there anything else you want to add, or
no, it's just I never thought of work this being this way, and it takes on a different perspective, and it's important.
So what was your takeaway for today?
That no matter what you do, no matter what classification you put it in, it's still an expression of you.
Right, it's still an expression of you. My takeaway from today is my work, whether it be hard labor, my work, whether it be intensely researching, my work, whether it be presenting, my work, whether it be doing hobbies I love or enjoy, they're all just as valid as the other. Not a single one of those is better than the other. They're just different forms of work, and it's the ethic. The ethic is the same through each one of those work situations. So I think for me, my takeaway is I do have a good ethic, whether it comes to doing the slog jobs or doing the research. I kind of like my ethic. It made me feel good about that. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. I will see you guys next week. And thank you. Bye-bye.